Okay. Well, I'll try a short practice here in my new space and see how it goes just for you to access later on. And so we'll start just in a seat. I'm going to move back to my mat and just find a comfortable seat. You can sit with your legs crossed in front in the Sukhasana shape. If you need to raise your hips up slightly, you could sit on the edge of a blanket or a block. And then just drop in as best you can to some stillness. So allow your hips to be heavy, the legs heavy. Feel the earth supporting you here. And draw your lumbar spine in slightly, the low back in slightly, and feel lifting through your spine, reaching the space that we call the heart space, where the anatomically the heart lives and energetically the heart resides. So lifting that space up, the back of your head, back of your skull, reach the back of your skull towards the heavens. Drop your shoulder tops down. Rest your eyes. And take 10 rounds of breath here. As you continue to breathe, can you lengthen both the inhale and the exhale? Matching the length, matching the volume. And then we'll do a silent Om. So as you inhale, you might bring your hands together in a gesture of prayer in front of the heart center. And on your exhale, just a silent Om. Letting the vibration of the Om move through you. And then come down to your back. And we'll begin just with the feet hip distance apart. Arms can be in the goalpost position or behind your head. And just let your knees move softly back and forth. As you do this, the soles of the feet sort of roll over the soles of the feet, and the edges of your feet stay connected to the floor as you move from one side to the other. Each time your knees move across your midline, draw the inside knee down towards the outside corner of your mat. So as I let my knees come to the left, my right knee is pulling almost down towards the left corner of my mat as I push the edge of my mat away with the inside of my right foot. Inhale brings us back to center. Exhale, take your knees to the other side, pressing the left knee towards the right corner and drawing the edge of the mat away with the inside of your left foot. Yes, just that little pattern a few more times. Very good. And then stretch your legs long on the mat, stretch your arms long. Interlacing your hands, press the palms away, if possible, shoulder blades on the ground, shoulders on the ground, and press through your feet. Pull your toes back towards your shins, and then just begin to press through one heel and same palm, and the other heel, same palm. So as I press through my left heel, pull my left toes back towards my shins, press through the left palm. Release, press through the right heel, right palm, and release. So you're lengthening along the lateral side of your body, opening up some of the stickiness in the ribs. Just 2 more times on each side. Lengthening, you'll feel one hip sort of slip down, and the foot you're pressing through, the other hip sort of slips up, yes. And one more on each side. Okay, and then bring your knees into your chest and just rock back and forth a few times from one kidney space to the other. And then hopefully you have your block handy. I'm going to take the block now between the upper inner thighs, squeezing the block between your legs, lower legs parallel to the earth, and interlace your hands behind your head. On your inhale, draw your pubic bone away from your navel and draw your chin up towards the ceiling, creating space in the lower back away from the floor, and the cervical, the neck, the cervical spine. And on your exhale, squeeze the block, draw your low back into the floor, chin towards your chest, and reach your elbows towards one another. So inhale, chin toward the ceiling, low back away from the floor. Exhale, draw your low back into the floor, squeeze elbows together, and draw the low back towards the floor. And just keep repeating this pattern. Keep a good grip on the block, squeezing using the inner legs to assist you. And the next time on your exhale, press your low back into the floor, squeeze the block, lift head and shoulders, squeeze elbows towards one another. Inhale brings you back down. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Inhale, draw the pubic bone away from the navel, open up, pressing your elbows into the floor. Exhale, squeeze everything together. Elbows come together, lift head and shoulders. Inhale, open up. Exhale, draw everything in. Pull the shoulder blades off the floor with the strength of your abdominals. And 2 more here, 2 more. Waking up the core. Last one. And release your feet to the floor. Take the block out from between your thighs and just set it right underneath your sacrum. Rest your sacrum on the block and draw your legs long here. Open the front of the hips, the hip flexors. Should feel some work happening there. Press your head slightly into the floor and draw your shoulder blades underneath. And then from here, just bring the soles of your feet to the floor again. Now we're in a supported bridge posture. Press into your feet, lift your hips, and then just set your hips back down on the block. So you're not lifting very high, pressing into the feet, lifting, and setting the hips back down. Good. Do a couple more just here, just lifting. Shoulder blades firmly on the back, pressing into the floor. And now lift the toes and draw your heels back isometrically towards your block, towards your booty, and then press into the heels and lift. And release. And another. Pull the heels back, keep the toes lifted, lifting. And two more just like that. You might even take your hand to the attachment of the hamstring, the back of your leg, right next to the buttocks, and see if you can feel the engagement there. Lifting. And set that back down, set your hips back down, and then feet back down, press into the floor, and slide the block out. Okay. And now just warm up the spine with a little spinal undulation. So as we press into the feet here and lift the hips, arms will come behind us, backs of your hands touch the floor, and on the exhale, lower everything back down, one vertebra at a time. So pressing into the feet, lifting the hips, arms come up, and then lengthen back down. Really feel, if you can, the articulation through your whole spinal column. The whole spinal column. Great. And then the next time that we are on the floor, just take one breath cycle here. And then as you lift up the next time, next inhale, just bring the right arm behind you to turn your gaze to the left. And then lower that back down. And then left arm, right, turn to the right. And release back down. And left. Turn to the left, right arm up. And come back down. And just continue that pattern a few times. So you'll press into the feet, lift the hips. One arm comes back, your gaze moves in the opposite direction if that feels fine for your neck. And last one, or last pair. So go one more time on each side, make it even. And then coming back to the floor, you'll take your ankles, cross at the ankles, and take your hands behind your hamstrings, the back of your legs, and rock the length of your mat from your sit bones to your shoulder girdle. And then up to a seat. Good. And here you can come back to that same, I'll show another variation. So here is our block in what we call billboard style. You can set your sit bones on the block here in Virasana. Great. And we're going to inhale the arms up and just bring the palms together and come through center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, come down through center. Just a few times, feeling into the shoulders and how it feels in our shoulders this morning. And then we'll inhale the arms up, take the left hand to the floor, and right arm reaches up and over. Inhale, sweep up, and exhale, right hand to the floor, left arm up and over. And just repeat that pattern back and forth a few times. Going at your own speed, see if you can keep the breath and the movement matched together. So it's a little marriage of breath and movement. And come back to center. Just rest your hands on your thighs and roll your shoulders up, down, and back. Up, back, and down, I guess is really what we're doing. Up, back, and down. Yes. And then bring your palms, palms up. And you're going to draw your shoulder blades on your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades on your back. Okay, that's going to be the inhale. Exhale, push your hands forward around your back. Draw your elbows, squeeze the back, lift the sternum, and then press your hands away and round your back. And really, I guess you could make one, make one the inhale and one the exhale. So find a rhythm that works for you. Really squeezing the shoulder blades towards midline as you pull the elbows back, and really opening through your back, broadening across the upper back when you press the hands away. And then come back to the center and just rest your here. You can try doing opposite up or down movement with the shoulders and then the other way. Good. And bring your arms out to the sides here, reaching to the right and reaching to the left, and reaching to the right, and to the left, and then back to center, and then shrugging your shoulders and internally rotating the arms. So the palms are facing behind you, and then externally rotate. The palms are facing up. All right, so we internally rotate with the thumbs down towards the floor. Externally rotate. See if you can get how far you can get the palm towards the back of your space. Internal, external. And then release. Coming back to the center, you can draw your right ear over towards your right shoulder. And then bring your chin through center, left ear to left shoulder. And back through center, right ear to right shoulder. Left ear to left shoulder. Very good. One more time in each direction. And then come off of your block. If you're on the block, set the block to the front of your mat and come to table position. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start in this table position. So hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, perhaps a little bit behind the hips. And on your next exhale, press into your hands round your back and drop your hips back to the child's pose. Inhale, slide your nose along the mat forward and come up into cow. So chest lifted and forward, gaze lifted, tail feathers spread. And then curl your toes, exhale up to downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your knees back to the mat and into the cow shape. And exhale, round your back, press into your hands, drop your hips back into child's pose. On your next inhale, you'll come up on your knees and sweep your arms up overhead, palms facing in towards one another. Draw your low ribs in. And then on your next exhale, you'll fold back down into child's pose. Inhale, come up to table and into the cow shape. Exhale, curl your toes, press up, downward facing dog. Inhale, come back to table in the cow shape. Exhale, press and round, come back, child's pose. Inhale, come up on your knees, lift your arms up overhead. You might look at your hands, pinkies face in. Keep drawing the low ribs in, belly's engaged. Exhale as you fold back down to child's pose. Inhale, table cow. Exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, table and cow shape. Round the back as you press, and your exhale, drop down to child's pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold back down into child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale, come back to the cow shape. Exhale, round and drop back, child's pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. And exhale, child's pose. And stay now in the child's pose for one full breath cycle. And from here, slide yourself forward on your mat until you come down to your belly. And take your hands, stacking your hands one on the other, make a little resting place for your forehead. So you're going to rest your forehead right on your hands, back of your hands. I'm going to keep my head lifted so you can hear me a little better. And then reach the right leg up and back, left leg up and back, and set them both back down. Draw your tailbone down towards your heels. Press your pubic bone into the floor. On your next inhale, press into your elbows and just lift your head and shoulders. Exhale, release back down. Inhale, press into your elbows, lift your head and shoulders, and release back down. Okay, so just a little baby back bend, thinking about length in the back more than lifting as high as you can. So as you press into your elbows and lift, draw the back of the neck long. So your gaze is off the front of your mat, keeping a lot of length in the spine. Okay, continue that little pattern. Let's go just 3 more times here. Keep pressing your pubic bone into the floor and drawing your tailbone down between your feet. Good, and then the next time that you have lifted up, remove your hands from underneath your forehead and bring them back and set them underneath your shoulders. Okay, so keep pressing your pubic bone into the floor, and now press a little bit into your hands and lift into a baby cobra. And release. Head forehead down, just touching the floor, pressing again into baby cobra. And repeat that. Let's do that 3 more times. So keep pressing the pubic bone into the floor. Again, keep the length in the back by looking off the front edge of your mat, keeping the back of your neck long. And lift. And come on back down. Take your arms alongside your body. Turn one cheek or temple to the mat. You can bend your knees here and let your feet rock back and forth gently. Just addressing any bit of low back tightness or crunching. And then take your head and face in the opposite direction. And come back to center. Take your forehead to the floor here. And then here, roll your shoulder tops up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And draw your hands back behind you, palms facing towards the ceiling. pressing into your pubic bone. Lift your head and shoulders, lift your legs. And we'll hold for a 3 count here. 3 counts. So keep drawing the tailbone down towards the heels, pressing pubic bone into the floor, and keep the back of your neck long. And slowly lower to the floor, taking one cheek or temple to the mat. You can bend the knees. And just take your feet back and forth. Take the other cheek to the mat. And come back to center. And now we'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders and really feel what it feels like to want to get up. So pressing into your hands, pressing the legs into the floor, lifting through sort of a table, right, and coming again to all fours. All right, if you have 2 blocks now, 2 blocks will be nice here. If you don't have 2 blocks, that's okay. But we're gonna bring, if you had the 2 blocks, you're gonna bring the blocks on either side of your front foot. So coming into a kneeling position. All right, so right foot forward and left foot back. And I'll just show without the blocks here. So with your hands framing the front foot, you'll just move back and forth here a few times, opening the left hip flexor. And then as you move the hips back, opening in the right hamstring. So draw the right hip back. And of course, just move at your own pace. What works in your body the best. Your knee can come forward of that front foot. And then the next time we bring the hips back, we're gonna take the block underneath the front foot and prop it so that the ball of the foot is on the edge of the block. And then coming forward, I'm gonna curl the back toes, come forward, knee forward of my right ankle, and feel the stretch in my calf, soleus, lower leg. Good. And at the same time, I feel a stretch in the back calf. And then I'll bring my left knee down, lift and take the block over to the side. And then inhale, come up to center. Good. Now inhale and sweep the arms up. And on the exhale, bring your left hand down to your left hamstring, reaching your right arm up and back. So you're getting a lateral stretch plus a little bit of a back bend. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, bring the right hand to the left hamstring and do a little bit of a lateral side bend over towards the right. Inhale, come back to center with the arms. And now exhale, twist open to the long edge of your mat, away from the bent leg. So an open twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the right leg, the bent leg, reaching the right arm long, left hand can be to the outside of your right leg. Inhale back to center. Exhale, take your hands down around your front foot. Curl your back toes and bring the right foot to meet the left foot in downward facing dog. And here I'm just sort of doing this little marching action. And with my feet lifting one at a time, and then I might bend one knee at a time and work in my downward dog this way. Okay. And then inhale the left leg up. You may tent the left fingers to help you bring the left foot forward and come onto your right knee. Good, same pattern here. We'll come forward and back. working to just get a little sensation in the right hip flexor and the left hamstring, the back of the left leg. So move at a pace that feels skillful for you, as in this isn't anything difficult, but just it supports you in your body. Might be the first thing. This might be the first thing you're doing in the morning. All right. Good. And then we'll set up the block again under the left foot. Come forward of that foot. I can already feel this working my Achilles tendon and my calf. I'll curl the back toes up, and the left knee comes up in front of the left ankle, opening up the left lower leg, hopefully. Yes, and you might feel a little bit stretch in the back calf as well. Okay, lower the right knee to the floor and block over to the side, or use it to press up into this sort of proposal pose, is what I like to call it. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, right hand comes back to the right hamstring and left arm reaches long. So I'm getting a lot of length in the left side body and a bit of a back bend. Inhale, sweep both arms up, and exhale, left hand to the right hamstring. A little bouncy here, so squeeze your thighs together isometrically as if you had that block in there. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, now you'll twist towards the right, long edge of your mat. Open twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist towards the bent leg, the left leg. Opening through the left arm, the right hand comes across. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down around the front foot, framing the front foot. Press up onto your toes and come back into downward facing dog. Great. So here, shorten your dog stance. We shorten the dog stance. You're going to bend your left knee and bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg. And then straighten the leg. So you start to twist. You might be able to bring your gaze under your left shoulder, and your head, and twisting here to the left side, long edge of your mat. And then release your right hand back to the floor, bend your right knee, bring your left hand to the outside of your right leg, and then straighten the right leg, beginning to twist here to the right side. And you might be able to take even your head under your arm here. Be attentive to what your body wants and needs and is able to do. Release your left hand. Walk your feet back to a more traditional downward dog stance. And on your next inhale, rock forward into high Dandasana. Exhale, bring your hips back into the downward facing dog. So we'll just rock back and forth a few times, coming forward, our shoulders over our wrists, and exhale, the hips bring you back. So really feel for this action in the hips, and then resting here in this nice, you could stay here, you could take a chaturanga, but we're just going to flow back and forth between these two shapes and feel the movement in hips and shoulders. Building a little heat. Okay, and so we want to build some heat, and then we want to send the heat everywhere in our body evenly. So the next time that you're in either shape, you can hang out in this high Dandasana shape, or you could hang out for a few breaths in the downward facing dog. You could bend your elbows for a little bit more heat in the downward facing dog. Draw the kneecaps up. And then when you feel the heat starting to build, drop your knees, come down into the child's pose, and sense the heat moving everywhere through your body. Like from the center of the core, out, 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 out. Perhaps even leaving your body and heating up the space around you. And then on your next inhale, come back up through table to downward facing dog. Build that heat again, either in downward dog or elbows bent, or into the Dandasana, the high Dandasana, building heat, building heat, building heat. So if you're in the high Dandasana, draw your belly up and in, keep the kneecaps engaged, pressing the floor away. And then as soon as you feel a significant amount of heat building, come to your knees, come to the child's pose, and feel the spread of the heat. Feel the spread of the heat. Okay, inhale, we'll go one more round with that. And pick the place that works the best for you. Feel the heat building. Feel the heat building. And then when you feel some heat has built up in your body, drop to your knees, come into the child's pose and let it move through your body. Let the heat move through your body. Good. Inhale, come up to the table position, curl your toes under, press your hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg out behind you, tenting your right fingers if you need to. Bend your right knee and bring your foot forward between your hands. Good. Turn the back foot so your feet are in the warrior two position. And then you know yourself up, warrior two. So the front leg is knee over the ankle. I kind of have that knee tracking over the big toe, second toe, and really press into the heel of the back foot. Let's bring the arms out, right, to a T, and feel the torso lifting right out of the hips. Good. On your inhale, we'll bring the hands together and straighten the front leg. And on your exhale, drop back into that warrior two shape. So just a little movement here, a little vinyasa here, working through a sort of a star, modified star posture, and the warrior two. Good. And then stay in your warrior two. Reach your right hand forward and then come back, exalted warrior. So the back hand, the left hand can be down the left leg or can be at your sacrum. Inhale, come back. Now straighten the front leg and reach, 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 reach forward. Perhaps you have your block here that can go to the outside of your front leg. Left hand can stay on the hip and come into the triangle pose. So you might also have your hand on your shin, pressing hand into shin, shin back into hand. You might even have your hand up on your thigh. So keeping an openness through the chest, can you draw your heart space up, 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 over, so everything's open to the long edge of your mat. Good, and then bending through the front knee. Inhale, come back into the warrior two pose and straighten your front leg. Turn both feet to face the long edge of your mat. Grab your block and take a forward folding, wide-legged forward fold here. You can rest your forehead on the block, or just put your hands down underneath your chest, your sternum, your face, and fold here. Good. One more breath cycle. And from this position, go ahead and just turn your left foot out. And you can walk your hands around to the left foot. Right foot, back of the right foot, that back heel really presses down into the floor, and then windmill yourself up, warrior two legs this side. So everybody bend your right leg, really press the back of your heel into the floor, and then straighten. And then we'll bend deeply into the front leg, tracking our knee over the big toe, middle toe, big toe to middle toe space. Good. And then we'll do that same vinyasa. So inhale, bring the arms together overhead, straighten the front leg. Exhale in the warrior two shape. Let it be like a prayer, like a meditation. This is really the asana practice is a living, breathing. We're praying, meditating with the body movement, and let it flow like that for you if you can. So less mechanical and more of this really flowy, poetic movement. Good. Resting in the warrior two. Inhale as you reach forward and turn the palm up, and then coming back into exalted warrior. Practice with the bodies we have right now. Inhale back and straighten the front leg, keeping both sideways long as you lean forward. The right hip comes back, left hip under, left hand to the block, right hand to your hips, to your hip. And then draw, press into the left big toe and externally rotate the thigh, the left thigh, externally rotate there. Keep the right heel pressing down. You could stay right here or stack shoulders. So the trap, even in a practice like yoga, is to think that we have to look like someone else, practice like someone else. We want to practice with what we're given right now. Whatever stage of our life we're in, whatever stage our body's in. And this is the portal to deeper interior spaces that we're really exploring. Okay, so pressing, bending the front leg here, and we'll sweep up, turn and face the long edge of your mat. Came out a little differently there. Apologies. And we'll bring the hands down. Forehead can come to the block. Hands underneath. Okay. And then you could use the block or not. I'm going to move mine to the side. Take your left hand right underneath your sternum and sweep and draw the right arm up. And then release and go in the other direction. And you can go back and forth a few times. Okay. And then begin to heel toe your feet together until they're about hip distance apart, hands to hips, pressing into your heels, your feet come up to standing. Okay, so we'll finish with a little bit of a balance, and we'll come into the tree pose, Vrksasana. So wall space is nice if you have it. And you can also, I'm just going to fold my mat over for a minute. If you're like me, you're on carpet and a mat, it's a little bit easier to just use one. So just into the carpet. Good, so here I am. I'm going to press my weight into my left foot, and I'm going to lift my right leg and externally rotate that leg. So there it is again. I'll lift and externally rotate, and then take my right foot and place it either on my left foot or against my calf, or depending on the pants you're wearing and how slippery they are, you can come into right foot into left thigh. Keep your hands on your hips for a minute and feel the even stacking, the even hips, and you might fall out. Balance is different every single day. Press firmly into the left foot and really squeeze the left leg strong and long. Then you can play with your hand position. And release. So one of the curious things about the practice, in any practice, is that, you know, we think we move in this linear way and we arrive somewhere. And I find that my yoga practice, the physical part of it, is different almost every day. And some days the balance is easy and sometimes not. So be kind to yourself. Press into your right foot. Lift the left leg, externally rotate. Bring your foot into your calf, rest it on your foot, or perhaps into the right thigh. Hands on hips. Press leg into foot, foot into leg. I got the slippery pants on today. That's not going to work. So I'll go to my calf. And it's interesting to me, personally, because I just moved into a new space. And I'm doing this for the first time here. And my balance is off. And that doesn't really surprise me because I'm not settled yet. I don't have the stability and grounding of my new home yet. So wherever you are, embrace that. Love what is. Release. And then you might just move a little bit through your hips. Okay. And then we're going to come down to the mat. As promised, not a super long practice this morning. Okay. Come back down to the mat. We'll come to our back and come into the figure 4 shape. So right ankle over left knee and right hand through the space. Take the back of your left leg or the front of your left shin and brighten the feet. So draw the toes back towards the shins. And then as you pull towards your chest with your knees, feel for how much lifting is happening in your hips. And can you relax your hips back down to the floor? And if you don't have a lot of sensation here, you could draw the knees over to the left. To the left, yeah. Okay, you can stay right here or in that first variation, or you can take your right shin, right lower leg in your elbows, reach the left leg long, draw your navel up and in. So you're pulling in. This is probably looks and feels a little bit more like pigeon when we're prone on our belly. Okay. So keep engaging at the core. Toes pulled back towards shins. Good. And from here, you could stay here as well. If you can rock your leg behind your head, you could do that. But I'm going to move right into a half a happy baby. So hand to the outside of my right foot, left knee bent and foot on the floor, and then right knee moving towards my right armpit. And then I'm going to move back and forth between straightening that leg and bending the knee towards my armpit. And if you can't reach your foot, you can grab your pants. Now, we all really have, I think, a strong sense of how we can have a variation that works for ourselves. So do what feels like the right thing for your body. Okay, and then from here, keep the right leg lifted and drop right over to the left and come into a twist to the left. So just left leg is long if that works for you. And then you might take your left hand into the hip crease, sort of roll the hip and the leg away and feel for maybe increased space in the right side of your back, lumbar spine. Draw your belly towards the right, so you're trying to almost point your belly button up towards the ceiling, and maybe take your gaze over to your right hand. Okay. And then on your next inhale, you can take your left hand under your right thigh and just help the leg up as you inhale. Good. Come back to both feet on the floor and just a few windshield wipers action back and forth to neutralize the hips and the low back here before we go to the other side. Left ankle rests on right knee. You can draw your knees in towards your chest and bring your left hand through the space, taking either the right hamstring, the back of the right leg, or bending your knee, your right knee, and taking the front of your right shin. Again, you could lean the knees to the right if you're not getting a whole lot of sensation. And you can stay here, or you can get your little baby here in your arms. Reach the right leg long and draw the left shin, left lower leg towards your chest. See if you can keep the work out of your neck here and just use the core to keep lifted. Pressing through the right heel, draw your right toes back towards your shins. And then again, you could stay here. I'm going to drop right foot to the floor and left hand. I could leave my left hand right where it was, just like that. And then come into this half a happy baby where I'm bringing my left knee down towards the floor, towards the outside of my left underarm, left shoulder. And then I'm going to keep that left knee bent as I come across my midline. Right leg stays long. And now I'm going to twist to the other side. And I'll take my right thumb and sort of encourage this inner rotation of my thigh and a pulling away the thigh away from the rib cage, creating some length in the outside of my left side. Left arm comes out to T, And your gaze could come over to the left arm, left hand. If that's not comfortable for your neck, just look straight up at the ceiling. And draw your belly to the left. So you scoop your belly to the left. Like you're trying to get a little bit more of your upper back on the floor. That might be another cue that helps you. Feel the twisting action here in your spine. Then with your right hand, next inhale, you simply help the left leg up. Come back to center and take your knees side to side once more. And anything else that you might need to finish your practice. Of course, you can take Shavasana right on the floor, or you could put your legs up the wall. So if you're just resting on the floor, let your feet be as wide as the corners of your mat, the lower corners of your mat, feet falling out to the side, arms alongside your body, press into the back of your head and lift your back and tuck your shoulder blades underneath. You might take your hands to the back of your head, to the base of your skull, and just pull away a little bit, get a little length as if you were getting an adjustment by the teacher in class. And then let yourself drop back in, back down to the mat, to the earth, supported. Do a bit of a body scan and see, are you holding anywhere? Are you holding? Are you judging? Can you let everything go and just be as it is? And be held and rest here. Stay as long as you like. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and find peace. Namaste.